All right, welcome to another episode from the chart readers. We are doing oil on this video and it will be SCO and OXY. What are we going to do today? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how things are setting up. We have our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines, and then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please like and subscribe this video, it really does well with the YouTube algorithms. Nonetheless, I sincerely appreciate your time, so let's get into it. Look, I'm zooming out a little bit more than normal because, all 5 moving averages are well within a shooting distance. This is definitely a horizontal cluster. And this oscillation pattern is just really weird. It looked like it was starting to tighten up, and now it's kind of starting to look like it's going wide again, right? So this really can't figure out what it wants to do. Again, SCO is our short on oil. So if this does well, oil does bad. If this does bad, oil does good, okay? And it looked like it was about to do really well because we get a real nice break of all 5 moving averages and then monstrous confirmation. I'll be real honest, I would have for sure fallen for this. There's not a lot of reason. Look how high the RSI was on this. It was 69. That's still so low enough to where I would believe this thing is still going to go into the 70s, maybe even touch the 80s, right? But yeah, clearly we come back basically to 50% candle, give or take, right? It actually lines up pretty much on this line. But the one thing I will say, okay, and I'm going to delete these lines as I say, because this would have been, I guess, the saving grace, okay? So you definitely break all the moving averages right here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then again, you get good confirmation, which is something I always talk about. This right here should have been on the radar, all right? We couldn't get over the most recent peak, right? And that's really what I would have expected on the next day. Again, I'll be real honest. This would have fooled me for sure. I would have seen the break of all. I would have seen the monster confirmation. I would have gone all in on this and assumed oil was going to do bad. And clearly that was the opposite, right? And it goes back to showing, anything can happen on these horizontal clusters, and it's just it is what it is, right? There's no such thing as guaranteed, and yeah, sometimes things go funny, right? But yeah, just drawing a couple more new lines. But again, the fact that we couldn't get over this peak maybe would have saved someone, maybe someone a little better than me, I don't know. But yeah, that would have fooled me. But what are we looking at now? Look, it seems like oil is about to try to do well, at least, because this did technically close under. We closed at 23 cents, and you can see that average 20 is 26. So we are 3 cents lower than that line. Again, tomorrow matters a lot. Are we going to give confirmation that we've lost this and actually come down? Are we going to go back up into this? And then ultimately, are we gonna come down and continue down? Because we've fallen before, and then like I said, this it just oscillates weird. So and look, there's a lot happening on this weekly specifically, and Oxy, I'll obviously get to it shortly, is the complete inverse, right? The 50 is on the top and it looks like it might fall. With SCO, the 50 is on the bottom and it looks like it might fly, right? And look how far I have to zoom back. It's been well more, almost 2 years since we've been over that red 50 line, okay? If we can break the 50, the next place it would go would be this, right? So it looked like we were going to do it. Clearly not the confirmation the week after you want, right? Obviously good confirmation to be up. And one more time, something that's been several years under, you need monster confirmation to prove it, right? So this weekly was definitely very telling. And again, I would say using this most recent peak might have saved some people on the daily. But yeah, overall, it looks like oil should be doing well because SCO wants to do poorly, right? Again, these are a little too tight to use. You can definitely see the oscillation happening here as well. But yeah, we're seeming like we're going to slip into the negative, right? Looks like the red is going to go over the green. The red is already over the green here. Yeah, hopefully we go down if you're an oil fan, right? So hopefully this goes down and the others go up. But again, a lot is really on the weekly. We're either going to just monster break. And I mean, look at this debt, right? Red, 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 red should turn into green, 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 green eventually, right? So a lot is really like, I mean, just on the border of happening. And oil, I mean, controls the world. Let's be honest, right? There's so many like political things you can talk about oil and like, you know, it's right. I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole, but oil controls the world. And, you know, if this thing goes massively up or massively down, it will have a bigger effect than the stocks that we trade, right? I only care about the stocks, but yeah, there's definitely some like global things that I'm not here to talk about at all, right? So Oxy, again, just real quick look at this, and then real quick, it's not as good as I was hoping it to be. Honestly, I thought they were going to be a lot more like mirroring of each other, and there are definitely opposite oscillations. Again, was going down, now seems like it wants to go up, but the fact that Oxy and SCO aren't as mirrored, and I was talking to someone, I think it was on Twitter, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's really weird. I'm telling you that they should be almost mirror image, just like we saw in the weekly, right? The 50 up here, fall down here, right? And it looked like we were going to quarterly lose it, and then it kind of comes back a little bit, right? But yeah, they have some similarities, but are starting to be a little different, which is just, again, very odd to me. But what's happening, again, look, this is a real tight cluster of all 5 moving averages, and I'm not here to pretend I know how these play out. All I always say is, look, if you can break the top one, you're gonna fly up. If you lose all of them and you're down here, you're gonna die, right? You either fly or die. That's the rhyme I like using. And right now, it seemed like it was gonna die. This line has just been key, right? I mean, we've just been bouncing on there, right? And again, just zooming out, if we lose this, there's a lot of reason to feel like it's going to come down here, right? Because again, just going to SCO, if we break this, there's a lot of reason to believe we're coming up here, right? Because again, just all that down, all that up should really bring us to basically there or there if it happens. So they are both just literally sitting on the edge of what seems like a pretty big move, you know? And again, I'm not here to talk about political things or my conspiracy theories or this or that, but oil controls the world. It does. And it has a lot of implications, and somewhere in the back of my head I feel like that's probably what's playing out here, you know what I mean? So just a little bit extra thoughts outside of the general line things that I do. But yeah, we've talked about the weekly. There's not too many lines I need to redraw talking about my horizontal ones, right? Because I mean, again, it's just we are waiting to see if we're actually going to break and go up or if this thing's actually going to go down. And the one thing I'll say, as much as Oxy it's actually under, right? It's not quite as high at the top. Like SCO is knocking on the door of falling out of it, but Oxy isn't really at the top of the cluster, right? That bothers me. So again, just Oxy, the words you can tell aren't coming out as cleanly because yeah, these technicals just aren't moving as accurately as I feel they should. So just my little annoyance with these two. But yeah, that's really the best I got in this. Again, SCO going down should be good for oil. I know IMPP had a bounce, and we'll talk about that on another video shortly. But yeah, the Oxy chart has been really bothersome, and then the Oxy compared to SCO chart has been just even more annoying. So repeating myself for the last time. But nonetheless, I do appreciate your time. I hope you're learning. Hey, if you disagree with anything, throw it in the comments. I'm not here to pretend I'm perfect, right? So let me know. Have a great one.